There is a growing frustration among Canadians about the Prime Minister's lack of leadership to ending this pandemic. We want to see an end to the protests and to the lockdowns. We denounce all forms of hatred and violence. The comments they last heard from the Prime Minister were earlier, I think it was last month, saying we need to hunker down over the winter and hope for a better spring. Canadians are looking for a more detailed plan. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for unity to get us past this. Will the Prime Minister, will this government finally stop dividing Canadians, bring them together with hope and optimism to finally get us past this pandemic?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I hope that all members would recognize the leadership that has been shown by the Prime Minister and this government by following the evidence and science which unequivocally demonstrates time and time again that the way that we're going to get out of this pandemic is through vaccinations. And that's why we've been working with all Canadians. We put this question on the ballot in the last election. Canadians had an opportunity to choose, and they chose to support a way forward through vaccinations. Mr. Speaker, I'm very concerned about the demonstrations that we've seen and the lack of following of the law in the streets. We need to be sure that we follow the law. No one is above the law, Mr. Speaker. That applies to the convoy as well. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Mr. Speaker, the minister is ducking the question again. The most important question that my constituents and all Canadians want to know is when. When will the federal COVID-19 restrictions end? Canadians deserve transparency. They deserve to know what the Liberals' plan is, if any, to end these restrictions. My question, what is the metric and what is the timeline for Canadians to expect to see an end to COVID-19 restrictions?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Adam, get up. Stop there.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Absolutely, I agree with my colleague that we all want COVID-19 to be over. Perhaps one thing that we disagree on is how. We need to ensure that all of our communities are vaccinated, and we're encouraging everybody to get vaccinated so that we can get back to normal. My colleague knows that many of the lockdowns are provincial in nature, and we continue to work with our provinces and territories to ensure that our communities continue to be safe. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good answer.